but we are actually joined by someone special that a lot of you might know, who's sarcastically laughing at the prospect of that. Come have a seat. Would you prefer us to call you anything besides Tagg? Because that's what most people know you as.
That's my name.
Very nice. So what brought you here today? Because you're definitely a face that most people haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, as it turns out, I've been living in Denver for the past 5 years.
Okay.
And it's my last week in Denver.
Wow.
I'm flying back to Chicago at the end of this week. And I just so happened to find out that there was a TF2 tournament going on.
Yeah.
And so I decided to stop by.
And just so happened to find out that Banny is still playing TF2 tournaments as well.
I mean, he's never going to stop. He's never going to stop. But I do hear he's been having problems.
Yes.
They're not in a good spot right now. No, not at all.
No, yeah. They lost their last game, right?
Yeah, they are currently fighting to maintain 5th place.
Yeah, if they lose, they're 5th, 6th. This next map, they're a map down in the series.
Yeah.
Against the Australians.
How do people feel about that? Is it?
I haven't.
I think the general consensus is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're good. The general consensus, I think, is excitement just because it's a change, but you can never count them out. But right now, something's looking off with them where the Australians, I think, are going on top of that. And they got to figure something out. And unless they do, even if they got past the Australians, they wouldn't get much further. So they need to get something together.
Yeah, I was standing behind them and I was looking at them. And they seemed honestly kind of lethargic. Wasn't seeing much energy out of any of them besides, Habib.
Yeah,
Of course,
as
of
per
course.
makes
usual.
up for like the team.
Yeah, you need a hype man on a team. Like back in the day, classic mix-up, that was Hard Blue. Hard Blue would yell at every LAN. But yeah, this is a pretty well-run ship you guys got going on here.
Well, it looks like that from the camera side of things, but yeah, we're doing our best. I mean, how does this compare to, because you've been to plenty of lands in your time.
Yeah, the ESCA lands were honestly, I mean, this is better run than an ESCA land. ESCA lands, had the professionalism, but this one has the charm, and you guys are doing a lot with a little, and I think that's impressive.
I think that's kind of sixes in general. It's doing a lot with a little. I mean, how has the games looked like to you? Because obviously the game itself, which it's usually, you can't often say TF2 itself has changed, but since your time, it has itself, but even the sixes meta and how it's played has changed a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm honestly curious about that. I'm wanting to ask around about, how the sixes format has changed over the years. I'm going to assume that soldiers have not gotten a bone thrown and scouts are still just insane.
Yes. Well,
as a soldier main, that's how it was back in the day.
Europe did have a plugin where you don't take, where the gunboat's self-damage is applied when you hit someone. But
We voted to get rid of it though, unfortunately. What? We had it for a few years, and then it got they had a vote on it last season and got rid of it.
Was it? Did you guys let the scouts vote?
No, yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
that's the
all the
problem.
scouts turned up on the voting day and no one else did. I guess, right?
Scouts and scout superiority. It always happens. It always happens.
Well, you'll be happy to know that the days of the 10-minute round timer stalemating on last are gone.
Really?
Now it's only a 4-minute stalemating round timer.
I see.
Yeah, the config in general has changed a lot in ways that I think, as an American, are pretty positive. The Euros are definitely typing away in Twitch chat disagreeing.
It doesn't end due to time anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the config is 30 minutes, and once the 30 minutes are up, whoever has the most rounds, +1 is the new win limit. So you have to win a round to win the game.
Kind of like, doesn't tennis kind of do something like that?
Yeah, I don't know tennis well enough, but it basically means that games can go for 75 minutes. There have been, but it's way better than the 2 30-minute halves in ECA, because the once in every game, 20 games where it was fun to have the last 20 minutes of garbage time. But yeah, the 6 minutes extra removed from a round is actually action rather than one man for 10 minutes.
I was noticing that sacks were not as often happening.
It's a lot more pressure.
Yeah, honestly, yes. I was looking at it and I was just saying man, it just seems like aggression is all in the name right now. It's, hitting hard and going fast and not worrying about the cleanup afterwards. Everyone focus, go in, and then what happens after, is
I think
you deal with it as it comes.
the main evolution, I think, in the past 5 years is soldiers have just gotten so much better at jumping, shooting, and it's like people are too good against sacks now where a one man just doesn't get it done anymore. Now you'll see 2-mans, 3-mans, 4-mans, sniper. It's like it's gone extreme.
How is the EU scene with their strategies compared to NA these days?
It has, well, you can elaborate, but I will mention that EU has always had, or not always, but especially since the times of international competition where Seven is competing, they get a bad rep, usually among North American players, as being particularly slow, particularly cautious. That is not what we're seeing out of Witness EU. But yeah, you can elaborate.
Yeah, it is definitely slower, and it's a bit more careful. But particularly Witness, who are the European representatives here, they're stepping it up. They're trying to push their advantages a bit more. But like, I don't know, it's the case of like you're trying to push out of last. Like, how much does it take? Does it take 1 pick, 2 picks, 2 picks in Uberad? Like, the bar for that seems higher in Europe than it does in other places, but. We've definitely come away since the days of Seven, where 4 players die, you don't push, you don't risk anything because you really fear it going wrong. Yeah, for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes, of course, yes.
1/3 of a map.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that playstyle reminds me of our old playstyle in HRG, where we were notorious for stalling out and making sure that we had a clear advantage before pushing in.
Just 1 man.
Yeah.
Just send you to the- You'll die 10 more times.
Yep. And then we got rolled by the Europeans at the Insomnia land, so it's kind of I don't know, serendipitous to hear the back and forth between the strategies.
There's like a few teams like over in Europe that we see like more often, like particularly in maps like Granary, they'll get an even Uber situation on enemy last, and they'll just rip a 4-man instantly and just walk back, give up second, and because they just rather have the game being dynamic with okay, Uberad, but like we've given up second, we're gonna have to push it quickly. It's on a time limit versus we sit there for potentially 5 minutes and push our way in slow.
Brains turn to mush and stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. It just
Honestly,
stands at their assigned choke point,
I would always take advantage of those moments. I would just be like, hey, everyone's probably like falling asleep right now. I'm gonna start like lurking around at this point.
Yeah.
I activate.
Yeah.
I was always a fan of watching particularly old TF2 and finding like really ancient VODs from like back when it almost seems like Ubers in general aren't even like really figured out that much. One classic example I think of, and I don't remember the teams of this, I think it was probably European players because Vani is a friend of mine and sent me some old stuff because he's also a dinosaur. But a team pushing Badlands Choke, their pocket soldier, who's of course getting hard pocketed, is in danger of dying. So they use Uber to save the one soldier, and the other team, under really no pressure at all, is like, oh, they used, okay, now we used.
Yes.
That's what's supposed to happen here. So it's really funny just to look at sort of the contrast with, where nowadays, I mean, people have been grinding this game and trying to get better for decades.
For real.
To where you're really finding even just the smallest details start to matter more and more.
Yeah. I mean, it honestly makes me kind of nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, no offense to everyone here. I mean, this is my first time meeting many of you. Banny and Habib are really the only ones that I know personally, except I forgot that I was on a team with Habib, so that was kind of embarrassing. It's good to see them still like going on and strong and stuff. And I mean, one of the reasons why I found out about this LAN is because I've been working on a video about TF2, and I was going through my research again and like just making sure I got all the perspectives going, and I was like, okay, let's see how the competitive scene is going on right now. So I've been sneakily watching like VODs and everything like that over the couple of days, a couple of months.
Nice.
And then I just randomly found out that this LAN was going on. So
Yeah.
good stuff.
It was
super cool.
something that I was mentioning to just random staff and people, and it's kind of sappy, but I remember when I was coming up was around like old international old by today's standards of like Rewind and Rewind 2. And for me, that was what competitive TF2 was to me. And then that sort of era, it felt like died out, and a lot of the people whose names I know from production and like players as well sort of moved on. But seeing something like this that is very much in the fashion of those global events, gave me kind of a new perspective where it's more so a new generation of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that having new players who I remember first joining the scene now on, not to be egotistical, but my level, I guess, as in of a contributing member of the community is really nice to see.
Yeah, I came down here not really expecting much. I didn't expect such a warm welcome. I didn't expect to be on the couch. But I've been getting a lot of people coming up to me and they're like, I watched your videos when I was 12. And, you know, I grew up watching your videos and, you know, your videos got me into TF2. And, you know, I've heard that, like, people have watched my videos before, right? I didn't realize that, you know, an entire generation of TF2 players were watching my videos. And now they're in the competitive scene. And seeing all these new faces here and, like, I mean, like, back in the day, back when I was playing, it was kind of like a frat house almost. But now it's like everyone's kind of chilled out a little bit. You know, everyone just knows that they're in here for the video game.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's cool and all, but it doesn't make you that cool, you know.
Yeah.
So things seem way more laid back. It's pretty nice.
That is good. And I wonder how much of that is reality setting in that TF2 is not the super esport that Valve's supporting and whatnot. And like,
We really wanted it to be that.
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
absolutely. And sort of embracing the grassroots nature might help things. But also just, I think as new people join and old people leave, I mean, you just have the opportunities to be better as a community in general and like improve things. And I think TF2 in general has been going in the right direction.
I think it's in a good spot right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, despite, you know, Valve abandoning it like for the billionth time.
Yeah.
I've heard it before. The community's healthy. The community's doing well. The competitive scene's doing well, from what I can see. And I think the game is in a good spot right now.
It's kind of hard to say. We're like the upcoming esport when they have not updated the game. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
before it's like, wait a minute, we got matchmaking, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, we got Halloween update.
Honestly speaking,
Yeah.
of matchmaking, Valve or community members, I've been doing a lot of research on the game. I'm planning on releasing, I guess, like a TF2 Bible about everything you need to know in order to recreate Team Fortress 2. Basically, everything that's integral to Team Fortress 2's design that makes the game it. I've been doing a lot of research into it. Valve, if you're watching, if people in the community, please change the built-in 6v6 mode. Change it to 9v9. Change it to 9v9 and keep everything else the same. You would get the game would blow up. Because right now there's no bridge right now for players.
There's a lot of hurdles to get to
Yeah.
6v6.
Exactly. There's a lot of hurdles to get to 6v6, and you can't expect 6v6 to work, you know, through matchmaking through the default Team Fortress 2 experience. What the game really needs right now is a casual plus, a casual pro, where, you know, people that are getting kind of tired of playing 12v12, getting, you know, tired of getting random crit, tired of the bullet spread. They want something a little bit more tight knit, you know, a little bit more teamwork. 9v9 is the way to go because it's enough people to fill out the map. It's enough people that individual players aren't being, you know, saddled with too much pressure. And it would be no class limits, but you know, it would still serve to better familiarize newer players with the aspect of becoming gradually more and more competitive in their play.
That is actually an interesting point. And as like a super sixes elitist, when I hear 9v9, the Highlander bells ring. But I do agree that even though I would argue that sixes is fundamental TF2, like while there's a lot of like, there's certain class limits. I mean, the big ones are just demo and medic, or like the important ones. But like whitelist and stuff like that don't really change the fundamentals that much.
They don't.
But a sixes environment as it's played is extremely different from a casual environment.
Absolutely.
And as you were mentioning, something casual that still bridges that gap with players who want to try and maybe, because a big barrier for people is just scheduling and actually calming to people
Yeah.
is like huge. And a lot of the time when someone is brand new to sixes, it's always going to be rough.
Yes.
Because you're just going to get rolled until you get used to talking and like listening. And
Plus, most people's favorite classes are not scout, demo, soldier,
Also
medic.
true,
It's a
yeah.
lot of sniper, a lot of spy, pyro, heavy, where it's like, if you play six, it's like, oh, can't play that one.
Yeah.
Try again.
Yep. You get to mid too slowly.
Yep.
It's not viable. Yeah, 9v9 would definitely open up so many more possibilities. And yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
It's not like the normal competitives doing much right
Yeah,
now.
no,
anyways.
it's-
so
Exactly.
Yeah.
just do something.
Exactly. Like it's nobody's using it
Yeah.
right now anyways, and it would be ideally it wouldn't be that hard of a fix.
No.
You know, like you'd have to change some UI and some matchmaking protocol stuff, but the matchmaking can already handle 12 people or 24 people. So yeah, it's Valve, make it 9v9.
Yep. You
Make
heard
it
it here.
9v9. Highlander. I want to see a, what is the word I'm looking for? An experimental Highlander league with 2 class limit.
Oh,
I would love to see that. Please try it out.
I'm sure RGL could run a cup or something like that
Yeah.
at some point.
Yes.
interesting.
Every class. Right. Since Highlander's inception, I always thought that it was kind of like, I understand the point of making it so that everyone that has a favorite class can always play that class. But knowing that there's only one of each class on the field limits the amount of possibilities of
Yes.
teamwork.
Yeah, ironically enough, the format formulated for class diversity also has
The least.
because
least
it's the
amount.
same classes every time, no matter
Well,
what.
some of those poor classes just get beat up.
Also
on.
true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those heavy players that just sit there,
I
bless their hearts.
tried playing Soldier and Highlander. I was like, this is just you just stand there because you can't get heals.
Oh, well, Pyro walks at you, mini sentry, heavy.
Like the way that Team Fortress 2 is balanced is one medic can only support 5 players. So for 6 people, you need 1 medic. If you're playing in a pub, if you love playing in pubs, if you have 2 medics in a pub, you win.
Yeah.
So in 9v9, where there can literally only be 1 medic, everyone else's potential pretty much gets kneecapped.
Yeah. Plus, like different maps, you'd
yeah.
have 2 NGs, 2 Pyros. It's like every class will probably be played at some point in time, or could be.
So, you know, and then it's just fun to theorize about what could happen because, you know, if a team does go 2 demomen, well, how do you counteract that? You know, a team could go 2 spy, a team could go, 2 soldiers, just
Go
for,
vaccinator or something.
Exactly.
Changes it up.
And,
Then you have to run a Pyro.
and then your teammates would be able to play pro lander.
And then we go back and then we make it 6s again.
Yep.
Too many people.
Yeah.
I don't like these weapons. Get rid of them.
That is interesting, though, because from a lot of the casual players that are talking to me or commenting on anything I do, one of the disconnects that's very subtle is that the sort of play and counterplay or strategy and counterplay dynamic in 6s is largely about things like positioning or like a specific game plan. But at a casual level, it's much more pick counter pick of like switching around classes.
Free form almost.
Yeah. And I've always thought, well, to me, like class limit 1 medic is so big just because I love Ubers and the play between tracking Ubers and all that. It basically creates the format. But I never really considered in Highlander, like Ubers are not that huge, relatively speaking.
You
Like,
can't bring in enough people on them.
yeah, they like, I watch and
It just goes to blow up a gun.
Yeah.
And then your demo just shoots everybody.
yeah,
That's
again,
it.
I'm like,
Demos, Highlander demo, you going crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone else kind of.
as like the 6 is
Hyper double.
elitist, I don't want to be like reductive or anything. So Highlander players like feel free, but it does.
We can't
look
see the
like,
chat. We don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm just blind to that. But it looks like they just build an Uber and exchange and then just keep going from there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
They're crashing out in chat somewhere.
Like, eventually in Highlander, you're going to hit a hard wall with what every single class is going to be capable of. I think the ability to switch off of classes to better like mold your playstyle, mold your team's playstyle, the team synergy, the possibilities would just be endless. I feel like I think it would also be a great experiment to try for a newer, fresher age of Team Fortress 2. Not that it needs to happen, but me being
What's the worst that could happen by doing it?
me being 32 now, and like people are like, I watched you when you were when I was playing. People were watching me when they were 12, and like you guys are still playing Highlander, and like there's still 6v6, and the 6v6 mode in Team Fortress 2 is still like nobody plays it because it's just not. It's just not. It just doesn't work.
It's not sixes. It's like some weird hybrid. Yeah, I'm starting to feel that now because my first season I think I watched was 16, and my first one I played was 21.
Wow.
And yeah, I've been in invite since like 24.
Nice.
And now RGL is getting to 20s now, so it's like E2F12 is the best one to look at. What are they at now? 40.
And we're starting a season in 2 weeks. It's season 50.
Yeah. So so that's a good benchmark of how long it's been.
Yeah.
Where it's like I'm 25 now, and there's people that are like 12. I'm just like, oh my.
That's just for sixes. That's just for sixes. We've had about mid 30s on Highlander.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And like Nations Cups and God knows what else as well. But yeah.
Yeah, I've been like following sixes since later ESEA, but never actually played until RGL. And I'm even as an RGL only player in a position where, I see like these newer players start to become community figures.
There's some moments of ESEA, the client being terrible. Dot cup holder, dot Sonic.
Bitcoin miner.
Yeah, but in ESEA you could customize your ready up message.
You pay, don't you like pay money to get a custom?
One relic they need to bring back from ESEA is having the random Counter-Strike teams that are just signed up for it. Just
There
be
was
like, "Hey,
one
let's
season
play."
where there was a team in open that only played heavy, and he dropped 1,000
Yes.
BPM on Badlands, and he just walked around on heavy against like an open team and just bullied them because he could aim.
Yeah, those are the days. Like hearing the Counter-Strike players like laugh at our comms in the LANs. Like Hard Blue was legendary at the LANs. Even like with the Counter-Strike players, like they were sad that TF2 got dropped eventually because everything was way less lively.
Yeah.
There's not much talking that happens in Counter-Strike as much.
Honestly, nowadays, at least here, all the popping off is like 70% of the popping off in the entire venue is located to Habib.
Yeah.
And
No, yeah, you can like know where he is at all times.
no one else has stepped up to the plate.
I'm not sure how much time we have. I wanted to talk about maps.
Yeah.
What happened to Badlands?
I love Badlands, but people hate last too much. Inspire, like getting out of last.
Oh yeah.
It's just getting out of last,
You're
but
right, you're
they like messed with the cap time. They messed with that last point so many times.
Yeah.
Right,
They
yeah.
upped it, lowered it. One of the versions removed the ring on it, so it was open, but they literally couldn't fix pushing out of last.
I see.
Otherwise, mid's great,
I see.
second's great, but
Yeah.
last is just
Honestly, I think last is fun to defend. You're right.
Yeah.
Pushing out of it's a pain in the ass.
because you just wouldn't.
Yeah, and like the Spire, it's just
It's
Badlands
iconic.
mid. It's
Like
just-
Badlands Mid is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's
Everyone
great.
can do that.
As a soldier main, like I like Badlands.
What Badlands, I was always use that as like the exemplar flank because the flank is like
You
not
actually
just
have a thing to go behind.
exactly. It's
before-
not just like an area of the. It's not just a room. That's the flank.
it's not the
its
3-lane
whole-
design of every
yeah,
other map.
exactly.
Controversial. I want Gravel Pit back.
I'd be down to see a new game mode, but I was like trying to look at some payload maps, and
Unfortunately, yeah.
at least they added more cots. There were 3
Yes.
cots at one point in time, but one of them kind of wasn't very good.
Yeah,
But
but the new
bagels-
Koth is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it played. It's the sawmill looking one.
Yeah.
Bagel.
The big
That one looks great.
thing in the circle.
I can't stand Viaduct. I can't,
Yeah.
I do not like.
We have
That's my,
Viaduct's
that's my
number one
favorite
defender,
map on
yeah.
Soldier.
Man, I just always feel like I'm hitting the skybox on that map. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that was probably my best and favorite Soldier map.
Dang. Well,
Yeah, the gravel pit is a big callback because I know.
There's so many strategies. It's just
there were
interesting.
so
Yeah.
many strategies.
Like
It
it's
was so
the
much
only
fun.
map where you actually can come with a strategy.
Yeah.
Like one like thing.
No time limit. I'm gonna be here until tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're
Cancel the
all
matches.
staying.
Yeah, I mean, we have been given like a fair share. I don't know if we're on a break for games or something.
Yeah, we're waiting for Froyo. I don't even know if
Okay.
they're finished
I'm
yet.
being told after this is a long break, so honestly, as long as we want to go, if you want to tap out at any point, just let us know.
Oh, I mean, how long has it been since I've been on a couch?
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, can someone tell me what the
15 minutes we're being
Froyo
told.
Aussie game is right now? I'm curious.
Oh, I am.
I don't want to pull my
curious,
phone out.
Yeah, going back to Gravel Pit real quick. One of the reasons why it got removed was because it was an upset map. Like Gravel Pit was always the map that ended in an upset. Like the best team would always lose to the worst team on Gravel Pit, and in my mind, I was just like, yeah, because
Get better strats.
yeah, exactly, yeah, because you practiced it. You know, like Gravel Pit was one of the only maps in the game where you actually did have a team synergy strategy going on, and it got dropped because people thought that people felt as though it took too much time to practice.
The thing is, now that we don't do weak systems in seasons, it's pick ban for everything. So if you really wanted, you could never play Gravel Pit ever.
Oh, I see. But then you could still have it in the lineup.
Yeah, I think that Six's community today has a similar issue with maps in that, first of all, like alternative game modes like that are really not on the table most of the time. But also, as far as the introduction of new maps are concerned, because obviously there's still new maps being made all the time, people are very, very picky about the new maps. And maps that are severely flawed, such as Snakewater, that are played just because they've been played, so they know how to play it, get a lot of grace for their flaws.
Yeah.
But other maps, if
I'll say it, Snakewater sucks.
yeah,
Snakewater sucks.
But with newer maps, if like maybe the choke point's a little bad and you don't like how second is built or something like that, it's just this map can't be played because of it.
The other thing you have, like with bringing new maps in, at least now, like I say, the week system now we do pick ban every week. So yeah, like a new map comes in, and you can just decide for that season, like I don't know, we can't be bothered learning that in scrims. We're not like, and the fact that there's that option means okay. Suppose we actually do want to try it out. We're going to give it a grace. We're going to go for it, and then every week you play a team that bans it. So like your time you've spent like I don't know, you've done 10 scrims on this map, you've spent ages, you've really got like loads of cool strats, you never get to use them. So like why would you put the time
thing
in the
is
first
like
place, right?
in long run playoffs you get an advantage because they're just wasting on a ban.
Yeah, in long run, but
Yeah,
like
but
it's frustrating still.
You know, on the note, there was this one steel type map for sixes I still wanted to see played, but it wasn't. It's
What
called
was
like
it?
Scourge. It was like a snow map where
I think there's, man, a friend of mine who
awesome.
doesn't play anymore, but he was always a fan of just the weirdest maps that were played like in UGC for a season. So I'd always like to load up like CP Bazillion.
I've
or
seen some of your
CP
YouTube videos on
Science.
that. Yeah, there's some really wild.
Yeah.
Man, make science a stock map. That map has been around since like 2008.
It was so weird too. Like doors open depending on what's capped and all that. It's
yeah, CP Science is cool. Valve, please.
Yes.
No, Scourge has that. You cap a point, doors open. It's crazy.
That's nice.
But I think we got 3 more minutes. So anything in particular we want to talk about?
nothing pressing. We can just keep going. I don't know.
Huh? They're saying if we want to set a break, we can. But
I guess briefly, one last thing on the topic of maps to wrap up. Besides Gravel Pit, are there any other of those weird maps that you played and you enjoyed?
Cold Front.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
what about Turbine? Did you play Turbine, or is that just Europe?
No,
The CTF?
Europeans played it.
Yeah, the
We
CTF
had,
Turbine.
Like, we had like pro versions of it, and they fought to try and make it good for quite a while, and never did it.
Wasn't Coal Plant? There was like 3 versions of it. There was like the Koth, the CP, and then there was
Cold Front.
Coal Plant.
Coal Plant.
Yes, now there's Asheville,
Yeah.
Pro Plant, Coal Plant, and they're all like mildly different.
It was like a
it's-
5 CP where like
No, I think the Koth one. This is a
There was
Koth one I'm
both.
thinking of.
No, there's both.
Oh, is there?
Coal Plant
I've never
CP.
seen the 5 CP
Yeah, no,
one. Oh
it's-
my, okay.
yeah.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
I remember in my Cold Front days, like Cold Front, playing Cold Front in 6v6 was like, I don't know, my moment. I was like doing crazy stuff on that on that map. That was like the off class like perfection. I got the best backstab I ever gotten in a match. Like I got a crazy like sniper sight line from mid on top of the building into the second. But yeah, it was of course it was a pain in the ass to push out of. And so
Yeah, that lobby and
Yeah.
but mid.
yeah.
I remember there was one air shot that looked really cool, and I was just like, never seen it again.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure most people are familiar with you, but if anyone from that new generation is coming up, you want to shout yourself out, let them check it out.
Hey, I'm Tagg. I'm a old head in the TF2 competitive scene. it's kind of weird. Like everyone that I knew is gone.
Yeah.
But the scene is doing well. It's doing very well. You guys are doing a great job. And yeah, I have a YouTube channel, That Guy Tagg. I have a streaming channel, Twitch, That Guy Tagg. You guys ever heard about it? That Guy Tagg. I've been gone for a while now, and you know, I took an extended break from the community, and I guess I didn't mean for it to cause so much drama, I guess, but I guess it did. I don't know, but you know, I'm comfortable here. I've been lurking around the scene for a while. I've been playing again. I've been streaming again. I'm working on the TF2 video, as I said. Keep your eyes out for that.
Any like time frame or just up in the air?
Honestly, it's going pretty well. So I'm in the middle of a move right now.
Okay, I see.
But and right now, the video is 3 hours long.
Oh man.
Once again, it's the TF2 Bible.
It's a movie.
It's everything you need to know about TF2. I'm really proud of it. I've been doing a lot of research into it. I can't wait to finish it so that I can move on to something else. But honestly, I do feel as though I could see myself maybe coming back for a season, checking it out.
You don't have to say that if you don't mean it.
I'm interested. This game is fun. I'm looking at over the shoulder at people, and I'm seeing their rocket jumps, and I'm like, I could do that better.
Yeah.
I could have done that. You should have waited a little bit longer. You know, like maybe I could have gotten that shot.
Yeah, after retiring, I'm like, I'd do better than that guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you for joining us. Yeah, I guess we'll just send it off to whoever's going next. Might just be a break. Yeah, we're
Break
going
and
to a
then
break.
lower bracket semifinal. So I think the Froyo game is still going on, but it's Balls Land Team versus the Australians
Definitely.
or Froyo.
Yeah, tune
Loser
into
gets fifth.
Essentials, Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I'm rooting for Froyo. It's my
there we
buddy.
go.
It's Banny. It's my buddy.
That's the one connection. You can't leave that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was super.
If you do,
happy
everything's
seeing me.
gone.
He cried. I was like, wow. I guess maybe I could come back. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. This is cool.
Yeah. All right. See you guys there.